The Z is blown up. This engine did great for about 2 years. It was boosted. This is a fully forged VQ35DE, Eagle H-beam rods, Manley pistons, low compression pistons with a rear mount turbo. And it's an NA tune at the moment. I've been driving around NA for quite a while. It's not knocking yet, but oil pressure has left the chat. There is like 2 PSI of oil pressure left in this thing. Y'all have seen this in previous videos. I'll go ahead and insert some clips where it was wrecked and we straightened everything back out. We were trying to get to the point where we can get this to be a drift car. And I got to a point where I was like, you know, why would I have a boosted, nice built daily driver that's not gonna be perfectly reliable and then a slow drift car? Or I can have a fast boosted drift car and a nice, reliable daily driver. So given those circumstances, this engine is good. I think we're going to drop this engine, clean it up, regasket everything, slap it in here, retune it, and then we'll be good to go. Sorry for the long intro. I'm gonna start pulling engines now. Okay, so our first order of business is to make sure that this engine is even worth putting in the white Z without rebuilding it. I know this thing runs because we've beat the heck out of it out in the woods. Never done an oil change in it. We bought it wrecked. I don't know how the previous owner took care of it, and I don't even know how many miles are on it. We're gonna take the hood off so we can get some room underneath here and do a compression test and a leak down test. All right, we just finished the compression test and we have some issues. So cylinder 4 was at 77 PSI, and then I did it again at 80 PSI, and cylinder 3 was at 134. The rest of them are pretty okay. 180 was the lowest, and then 205 was the highest, but they all hovered around 200 PSI. So I've gotten to cylinder number 3, and if you remember, the center cylinders on both sides have very low compression, but we have a substantial decrease. We got 98 PSI going in, and 40 PSI is what's being held. So that means we have 50 PSI of pressure being leaked somewhere. Okay, so I don't know if we talked about this, but we're gonna pull the engine from the bottom now that we have a lift. So in order to do that, we pulled the suspension on each side. So we separated it from the subframe, and we're gonna lower the front M brace, do the rear cross member. I think that's gonna be these 4 bolts, this guy, and the cross member is really all that's in the way. And we'll lower it on the ground and lift the car off the engine. So that should be pretty sweet. Way easier than doing it from the top.
High five!
And back at it again with the VQ.
So the engine's out and we got it moved, and we need to pull the cross member off so we can put it back under the car, put the suspension back together, and we can roll it out and start tearing this thing down and see what happens. I'm gonna do some Z1 solid motor mounts probably whenever I put this thing back together. That'd be cool.
Would you care to explain what a Z1 solid engine mount is?
The Z1 solid engine mount is an engine mount consisted of aluminum.
Prefamulated amulite surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the 2 spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panametric fan.
Z1 hit me up. I'm good. All right, after a short hiatus, we are back with a much larger shop.
Yeah. Twice as big.
So if you remember, not too long ago, there was a wall right here, and we had a single bay, and we had a stack full of projects, and you couldn't do anything well because there was just no room for anything. We got the bay next to us, took the wall down, and stacked it with even more projects. So 3 months from now, we're gonna end up taking down that wall, probably, and then just like an endless cycle
Hopefully,
of endless space.
Then we can stack some more cars with no engines in it.
Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cars with no engines in it, and this engine is hurt. These 3 cars you guys have not seen. You've seen that in a previous video where it was all put together, and it is clearly very much unput together at the moment. Do you want to explain what is going on with this car that was running very well and put together and nice and pretty on the last video, and now it's just not?
Started having issues with the coolant being pushed through the overflow. And I went through the entire process of pulling the head and replacing everything and going to the machine shop. The head gasket seemed okay. The head was pretty close to spec. Put it all back together, still having the exact same issues. So I decided to get another bottom end, send that to the machine shop, rebuild it. Now, just like a good car guy, I'm doing too much.
What's new?
Yeah, nothing is new here. So what I decided to do while the engine is out of the bay, I decided to shave the bay. While it's out, we needed to make it look much more beautiful than it had been previously. We took it over to 360 Custom Fab here in Tyler, Texas, and had him weld up all of the holes in the engine bay, and he did a fantastic job.
Is it going?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh, cool.
It's going.
I have a new Honda. This is my new EG hatch that I just acquired not long ago. It was a rolling shell, basically exactly how it sits. I found a guy and he's like, man, I got a Honda if you want it. I'm like, okay, let me go look at it. Ended up being this golden nugget. It doesn't look like much, but if you notice, it has 5-lug conversion and big brakes, so it has the Type R 5-lug conversion. A GSR rack, so it's a short ratio rack, so it turns really nice. And there's a whole bunch of goodies on the inside of this thing. Like, this whole entire car was completely filled to the brim.
It's like straight
stuff
from
everywhere. It's already on coilovers,
tons of parts.
aluminum radiator, flywheel, bunch of brackets. All the factory suspension stuff is in the back.
So this thing was a turbo B series car is what he said.
Yeah, all the brackets and everything are B series stuff.
But we're not going to make it turbo or B series.
Okay, it might be a turbo, but it won't be a B series. I like making things slower than they were originally.
Well, technically it wouldn't be any slower than what it was to begin with.
It also came with this, not the engine. This is the engine out of the Del Sol, my Z6, but it came with this turbo manifold. So one of my cars, either this car or the Del Sol, is getting a turbo D series, and I have not decided which one it is yet.
So down in the comments, let us know. Should we?
Well,
should we turbo it or turbo the Del Sol? It's not here, unfortunately.
I don't know.
I mean, all right, flip a coin.
My thought process is this. The Del Sol is not very practical, and it has a top that comes off. In order to turbo a D series, you're not going to be able to have AC unless you do some crazy stuff or shave the block and install the turbo backwards or whatever. I just don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
So one of the cars is not going to have AC.
It's like that one. That other Del Sol doesn't have
Exactly.
AC.
I hate not having AC. So I figured if I'm going to have a car that's not going to have AC in it, the top might as well come off. And it might as well be a race car that's not very practical. I can make this in a nice, put a Z6 in it, or the YH7 that I have over there. It's nice and reliable. Has AC. I can put parts in the back of it, do parts runs. Nice little shop car. And then the engine on the 350Z, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm depressed.
Yeah, this motor is for the 350Z.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
The world's first D16 swap 350Z.
I'm done. No!
This is the engine that's going in that car for sure, and I've already got the mounts and everything ordered. I just don't know if this is the one that's getting the turbo or if the Del Sol is.
I think it would be really awesome to have 2 turbo Del Sols.
Or just turbo both of them.
No,
Jeez.
just turbo the
Turbo
Sol.
Del Sols? Oh,
with
right,
the
yeah.
turbo Del Sol, and then the practical daily AC.
They would be like
Civic.
exact opposites in every way.
No, but they both be boosted.
They'd both be boosted, but
It's like-
black, white, single cam, dual cam.
Don't be racist.
Here's the biggest thing with Hondas right now these days is everyone can build stuff. You can always put engines in. You can always do these swaps, but tuning for Hondas is not affordable anymore.
Right.
But no matter what you do,
Right.
it's like the only option is get a P28, which you can't find them anyways, and they're 30 years old. So if you do find one, it's a gamble as if it's gonna brick itself or not, you know. And then you have to have someone send it off and get it chipped or socketed.
Yeah.
So like
Honda
you're
S300.
just to get the hardware to put all that stuff on, you're at like
$1,000.
$1,000,
Yeah,
$1,200.
that's what I paid for my S300. That's
Out of the
in this
gate.
car.
That's not even with the tuning though. Then you got to
Yeah.
find someone to tune it,
$500.
and you're still on a 30-year-old piece of ECU. So at what point is it better to go with standalone?
like Haltech or
Haltech has their
like
little 500
Link.
series
Link
thing.
has Link is up and coming.
How do you build a Honda? Like back in the day, you could build a Honda
Do it
and get
on
it chipped and
chrome.
tuned like
It's like you're
dirt
gonna
cheap.
do it on Chrome.
Yeah.
Here we go.
How about just no tune, and we just bump up the fuel pressure a lot?
Sounds like a disaster. I mean, so here you go. So in the comments, what do you guys think about potentially grenading the engine just for the sake of
I like
like
blowing stuff up.
do we just do fuel pressure regulator and bump up the fuel? Right. I mean, because D series are still a dime a dozen, still super cheap. And,
Yeah, I think they're still relevant. I mean, every time I say I'm putting a D series in my Honda, everyone's like, "Ew, why would you do that?" I'm like, "Why wouldn't I?"
You can find a B series. Oh wait, and then everybody wants to say, "Oh, you should be putting a K in your car." Like,
K is a whole nother topic because that's
God,
one thing. You want to lay some Bondo on this thing?
Yeah, let's lay some Bondo on this thing. We're going to mix 400 parts Bondo to 1 part hardener. We're going to see if we can beat the race against time while I mix this up and prepare to slap it on the car. It's going to be a nice show as Urethane gets a Coca-Cola. Oui, oui.